What's up, cooks? It's Wednesday. Since I've been getting a lot of questions about the Hobart HL6, I figured that on Wednesday we should do a battle. We have the KitchenAid Pro 600, which is a 6-quart mixer, and we have the Hobart HL6, which is also a 6-quart mixer. And today we're going to find out what it means to be a stand mixer. We're going to put 4 pounds of dough in each of these mixers and see what these things can do. So join me. It's Wednesday and it's time for the KitchenAid versus Hobart battle. So the contenders. You guys know that there's been a long-standing between the Hobart and the KitchenAid. Hobart at one time owned KitchenAid, and they spun them off, and they eventually are owned by Whirlpool. But Hobart stayed in its own lane, and it continues to make commercial mixers. It does not make mixers for the home market. And I've always wondered, why doesn't Hobart bring out a mixer for us home cooks? And I think probably it has to do with something to do with the agreement between when they spun KitchenAid off. If they signed a non-compete clause, Hobart might not be able to enter our market. But home cooks always want the best of the best, right? And there's a lot of us have gone out and got Hobarts and brought them into our home kitchen. They have a few countertop models, because a lot of them are huge, right? They have a few countertop models, including the N50, which is a 5-quart. They have, in the Legacy line, they have a 12-quart that's sort of a countertop model. But I have in the Amy Learns to Cook kitchen a very unique Hobart. This Hobart was a prototype and was never brought to market. So if you want to learn about this HL6, I'll put links above and below when I got this, when I got some parts for it, and when I was able to get a second one. But today, I figure it's time to really do something here today. Putting these mixers head to head. This is the classic pairing, right? We have a Hobart and we have Hobart's baby KitchenAid. And I figured we would get them both up on the counter today. We're going to run my basic white bread recipe. It's a 4-pound recipe for two 2-pound loaves of bread. If you want that recipe, I will put links down in the description and up here as well to this. It's totally measured out by weight, including the water. So we have an equal playing field. We're going to see if KitchenAid can stay up with its older brother, the Hobart, and we're going to see truly what it means to be a stand mixer right here today in the Amy Learns to Cook kitchen. So let's get to this battle. Okay, first up, we're putting the water into the HL6. So now we're going to put the water into the KitchenAid. These are all exactly measured by weight. And I'm going to put the sugar in to feed our yeast. And now the sugar into the KitchenAid. And now the HL6, I'm going to put our yeast in now. This is SAF instant yeast. And now we're going to put it into the KitchenAid. That's the yeast. And now the Hobart HL6 gets a little bit of butter to make it yummy. And now the KitchenAid gets some butter as well. Okay, so now we're going to start putting our flour. My lovely assistant is going to be putting his into the Hobart, and I'm putting mine into the HL6. So let's go. Half halfway through, we'll put the salt in. So I have right now both of these on the lowest setting. The KitchenAid's on the 1, and so is the Hobart. I'm just doing that as we get the flour in here so I don't get it all over myself. And I'm going to give the Hobart a little salt and the KitchenAid a little salt, and we'll continue. That noise is the KitchenAid. I'm gonna have to raise the KitchenAid up. I'm almost thinking the Hobart is gonna do it all by itself.
You want to clean that off a little bit right there? Is that good enough?
Yeah. Thought the Hobart was louder. It has a higher pitch sound, but the KitchenAid is definitely louder. So one thing I can tell you is that the Hobart the hook seems like a lot quieter. We do have that high-pitched sound.
You got a little more rocking with the KitchenAid than the Hobart. Hobart has a very slight rocking. KitchenAid's a little more noticeable.
Starting to smell the yeast developing. I don't see that it's the dough balls are smoothing out yet. The bottom of the KitchenAid is like sticking to the bottom a little bit more. The Hobart seems to have cleaned the bottom a little better. I don't know, it's exactly the same amount of flour, so. A lot more noise coming out of the KitchenAid, I think. Pro 600 has been on a 2, and the Hobart is actually on a 1. It was initially on a stir speed, but it's on a 1. So let me get these out of here and let's take them to the board. So I'm gonna put a little flour on here. Some people put oil. Sometimes I put oil, sometimes I put flour. Whatever, right? So this is the Pro 600. I was pleasantly surprised. Let's just say that. I was pleasantly surprised on the Pro 600 performance. Let me get the Hobart out of here. Whew. Okay. I was pretty surprised. So what do we have here? Here's Hobie, and here is the Pro 600. The dough is pretty comparable. I mean, it's nice, it's soft. We have, look at that stretch. Beautiful stretch on there. Woo! I got a little stickage going on here. And with the Pro 600, we got stretch. Let's see. It's similar. I mean, I think the Pro 600 is breaking a little bit more than this. I think I have a little bit more stretch in the I have a little bit of breakage going on there. So I could have left this one in longer in the Pro 600, I think. Yeah, I probably would have let the Pro 600 go a little bit longer because it could be a little stretchier.
If you weren't comparing the two, would you have known the difference?
No. So what are my feelings? My feelings are, I give the KitchenAid Pro 600 a lot of credit. I've always liked this mixer, and it didn't fail me. One of the things that I can tell you on this end being here, the Hobart is more robust. It was a less grindy. I felt like it does have that high-pitched squeal that it's just like a Hobart thing, but I really feel like the Hobart is way more robust, and I think there's not as much sort of grinding action. I think maybe that's kind of hard to come across in the camera because you just have to be sort of here to experience it. But that loud, really loud grindiness was the Pro 600. But the Pro 600, I mean, Pro 600 just didn't.
They weren't really rocking much.
No, neither one of them were. It did a fantastic job. So, I don't know. I can tell you my personal pick is a Hobart because I just felt like it was way more robust. It was a better experience for me as a cook. But the Pro 600 did an absolute fantastic job. If you look at you can't really compare to what I paid for that Hobart, but if you look in comparison in price for the home cook, the KitchenAid held its own, and it has a lot better price point. If you're going out to buy one of those Hobarts, you're probably going to pay about $3,000. For this specific one, obviously I didn't pay that. I paid like $400, right? But that's only because this is a very unique model, and that's not really indicative of what one of those would cost you. I would say if you plan to make bread on a very regular basis. Like if you want to convert to homemade bread all the time, or if you want to run the Hobart like 2 or 3 batches, I wouldn't do too much more than this amount of dough in either one of them. You could do probably another half again on the weight, maybe 6.5 in that Hobart. I really wouldn't do it in the KitchenAid. If you want to do multiple batches, you want to do bread every day, if you want something that's going to withstand all of that, I would say the Hobart wins. But the KitchenAid did a great job. So I don't know if I would call it a draw.
Now people burn up their Pro 600s.
They burned them up.
Is that because they're doing harder grain that neither one are meant to do?
Yeah. Maybe heavier grains. Maybe they're using it more often, or maybe they're doing more than 4 pounds.
Less hydration.
I don't know. Less hydration, all that stuff. But yeah, I would say just looking at these two doughs right here, and I feel them, I just kind of feel like this one, see, you got that little tearness in there. I really think the KitchenAid needs to go a little longer than the Hobart. That's just my personal opinion. Yeah, I just kind of feel like the KitchenAid needs to go a little bit longer. So cooks, what's up? It's Wednesday. We had our little battle of the Hobart versus the KitchenAid Pro 600. Really surprised how well the Pro 600 did. I'm still a little concerned that we can't do it this long term with that KitchenAid, but yeah, I think it did a pretty good job. So just straight on the dough, I say it's pretty much very close to a draw. If you were to ask me, like, money's no object, of course I would tell you to get the Hobart, but the KitchenAid Pro 600 is also a great mixer. So what's up, Wednesday? I hope you are having a great week. If you like this kind of video, please subscribe below and hit that bell so you'll get notified of our uploads and also our live streams. You can also visit me on my website, amylearnstocook.com. You can get this recipe out there. You can also catch me in my Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/amylearnstocook. On Pinterest and Twitter, I'm at Amy Learns to Cook. And on Instagram, I'm at Cooking with Amy. So have a great week.